Hey everybody, it's Master Tim here. I want to talk to you about goal setting real quick. And the reason why I'm doing this video is I want to give you 4 steps to making setting goals or actually reaching your goals easier for you to do. Now, first, before you do any of that, the thing you have to have is you have to have a plan to get from point A to point B. Without that, you're really just kind of shooting darts in the dark, and you know how successful you'll be with that. You also heard the saying that failing to plan is planning to fail, and that's really true. Abraham Lincoln also said if he had 6 hours to cut down an oak tree, he'd spend 4 hours sharpening his axe. The reason why is to make this whole process of cutting down a huge tree more efficient. And you have to do that with any fitness goal that you have too. So here are the 4 steps. Number 1, identify the big goal. Of course, right? What is your goal? What do you want to accomplish? Is it to lose 10 pounds? Is it to lose 30 pounds, 50 pounds? Is it to drop dress size? Is it for guys? Is it to, gain 10 pounds of muscle? Whatever your goal is, you have to have that in mind. Again, this provides us something to aim for. We have to know how to construct our workout program based on where we're at and where we want to go. So that's the reason why we set the goal in the first place. Number 2, identify your why. Your why is your motivation. You have to have a solid grasp on this. I'll give you losing 10 pounds is not motivating, right? It's what is that 10-pound loss going to do for you? I'll give you an example of a client I worked with that wanted to lose 150 pounds so that she could hike down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, which was a lifelong dream of hers, but she'd never been able to do it due to her weight. So this 150-pound weight loss represented an enjoyable experience walking or hiking down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So we set a plan, and she lost that 150 pounds. She hiked the Grand Canyon. It was the most enjoyable experience of her life. Now, before that, thinking about hiking down to the Grand Canyon was a really scary thought for her. She thought, if I got down there, there's no way I'm getting back up. I'm living the rest of my life down at the bottom of that canyon. So again, her why was, her goal was 150 pounds. Her why was so I can accomplish this lifelong dream of mine of hiking down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So you have to have a solid grasp of that, because without that, there's no way after work, after an exhaustive day of work, you're actually going to go to the gym. You're going to want to go home, relax, and watch some TV. Or if you're a morning person, there's no way you're going to get up out of bed to go to the gym if you don't have a solid grasp on what this why is, because that's your motivation. Motivation sparks action, okay? And without that motivation, there's no action. Number 3, determine your first step. Now this is huge because you don't want to take giant steps. You actually want to take very, very small steps. Make it small, make it manageable. So for example, if your goal is to lose 20 pounds and you want to do that in a matter of 3 months, if you haven't been exercising, don't go start exercising for an hour every day. Maybe start off by walking around the block a couple of times, and then progress from there. You can go from walking around the blocks a couple times to maybe jogging half a block and then walking around the block a couple times, and eventually you're walking a mile or 2 miles a day. Perhaps it's just working out 2 times a week instead of 5 times a week. Because what happens if we decide, okay, I need to start working out an hour a day 5 times a week, and let's say we only make 3 of those days consistently. What happens is, and I've seen this several times with my clients, is you start to get demotivated because you're not doing what you set out to do. You try to chew off too much. So instead, make it small, make it manageable, and slowly progress from there. Every step should almost feel like you didn't really add anything, but when you look back over the long run, you actually went a long ways. Number 4, forget about the big goal. It's overwhelming. Thinking about all the things you have to do to reach this goal can be overwhelming. All the food you're going to have to give up, all the exercise that you're going to have to do, all the sacrifices you're going to have to make, all the times you might have to say no to your friends for happy hour. That can be overwhelming. Instead, focus on each small individual step. Those are easy to do. Think about it like training for a marathon. You don't just get up off the couch and go run a marathon, right? That'd be not very smart. What you do is, if you've been on the couch, you walk around the block once or twice. And then maybe the next week you add another couple blocks. And then eventually you're running a mile. Then eventually you're running 10 miles. And then eventually you're running a marathon. That's how you reach any goal. What you did is you didn't focus on the big goal. It was always there, but you didn't focus on it. You focused on the small steps that took so that you could build upon them to reach that big goal. Think about it like driving a Titanic. It doesn't turn around right away. You driving the ship, perhaps, and it's going the wrong way. You needed to get going the other way, right? What's the first step you need to do? Turn the wheel, right? And eventually it's going to turn around. It doesn't happen it doesn't just do like a car can go. It takes a long time for this thing to happen. So think about it that way. So again, let's review the steps. Identify the big goal. You got to have this so you know what to shoot for and how to structure your workout accordingly. Identify your why. This is your motivation. Without it, you're really not going to take all the steps necessary to get there. Number 3, determine your first step. Again, keep it small, keep it manageable. And once you accomplish that, you'll build success and you'll feel confident in taking the next step. Number 4, forget about the big goal. It's overwhelming. Focus on the small stuff first, okay? So I hope this helps you reach your fitness goals. I'm Master Tim. Thanks for tuning in.